Welcome to the clinical breakdown of human sexual signaling. I am Dr. Ava Sinclair, and in my practice focusing on male longevity, hormonal optimization, and behavioral neurology, I frequently encounter a profound disconnect in how mature men interpret female nonverbal communication. Gentlemen, particularly as you navigate relationships in your 50s and beyond, the mechanisms of attraction shift from overt displays to highly localized neurological microsignals. Today, we are dissecting the exact ocular mechanics a woman exhibits when her system transitions from baseline social engagement to acute physical anticipation. We are not discussing dating advice. We are mapping the autonomic nervous system. The ocular pathway is a direct extension of the brain, and when a woman's limbic system dictates a desire for intimacy, her eyes betray a highly specific, involuntary sequence that most men completely misread as fatigue or distraction. If you want to understand the exact biological protocols I use to optimize male endocrine function and command this level of physiological response, you need to read the clinical brief I have placed in the pinned comment below this video. It contains the foundational science that governs true neurobiological attraction. To understand this phenomenon, we must first discard the juvenile myth that intense, unblinking staring equates to sexual desire. In the realm of female neurobiology, a fixed, unbroken gaze is typically a manifestation of the sympathetic nervous system assessing a potential threat or calculating a complex social dynamic. It is a state of hypervigilance, heavily reliant on the prefrontal cortex. What you are actually looking for is the moment this vigilance collapses. When a woman's biological drive for intimacy overrides her conscious cognitive processes, we observe a distinct shift in her foveal vision and saccadic rhythms. The fovea, responsible for sharp central vision, begins to process information differently as dopamine and oxytocin flood her neural pathways. You will notice a breakdown in the standard conversational visual search pattern. Instead of the typical scanning between your eyes and mouth, her gaze will become perceptibly heavier, anchored by a microparalysis of the levator palpebrae superioris muscle. The eyelids drop a fraction of a millimeter, not from tiredness, but from the systemic relaxation that precedes physical escalation. This localized muscle relaxation is directly tied to the parasympathetic nervous system taking dominance. As her body prepares for intimacy, cortisol levels drop rapidly, and the vascular system vasodilates, which you might observe as a slight flush in the neck or chest. But focusing on the eyes, the critical indicator is the modification of the blink rate and the micro-expressions of the orbicularis oculi. Under normal conversational stress, the blink rate is relatively rapid and sharp. However, immediately prior to a state of profound intimacy, the blink rate decelerates dramatically. Each blink becomes elongated, deliberate, and languid. This is a physiological necessity. The brain is reducing external visual stimuli to focus processing power on somatosensory input, specifically the anticipation of touch. When you see this extended, slow-motion blink, you are witnessing the precise neurochemical moment her brain is shutting out the surrounding environment to isolate your presence. It is an involuntary neurological surrender to the escalating tension between you. The final and most definitive ocular sequence occurs exactly when she expects you to initiate physical contact. It is a highly specific three-part motor function. First, she will maintain that heavy, languid eye contact for a sustained duration. Second, she will break this contact, but not by looking to the side, which indicates distraction or seeking an exit. She will break the gaze by looking slowly downward, often accompanied by a minuscule tilting of the chin. This downward gaze break is an evolutionary remnant. It momentarily exposes the carotid artery and the vulnerable structures of the neck, signaling profound trust and a complete suspension of defensive posturing. Third, she will slowly raise her eyes back to yours, peering through her eyelashes, with the chin still slightly lowered. This specific triangulation, the heavy gaze, the downward submissive break, and the upward return, is the absolute biological green light. It is her autonomic nervous system communicating that the psychological barrier to intimacy has been completely dismantled. Recognizing this sequence requires a calibrated observer, one who is not blinded by his own adrenaline but grounded in his masculine presence. The men who fail to act during this precise neurological window often find that the woman's sympathetic nervous system re-engages, the tension dissipates, and the opportunity chemically evaporates. Timing is dictated by biology, not by arbitrary social rules. Mastery over your own physiology and the ability to read hers is the hallmark of a truly optimized man. I want you to reflect on your past interactions and observe your future ones with this clinical lens. Tell me in the comments below, have you historically missed this subtle downward gaze break, mistaking it for shyness rather than the biological invitation it actually is? If you are serious about optimizing your own hormonal profile, elevating your systemic vitality, and embodying the biological authority that naturally elicits this exact response from women, the protocol you need is waiting in the pinned comment. Do not let another opportunity pass because you are neurologically illiterate. Study the science I have provided and take control of your biological reality.